All right, guys, Janet Decay here, and I'm hanging out with the awesome producer, director, creative of Revenge of the Spacemen. I'm here with Jay Summers. Hey, Jay.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
So, what inspired you to create Revenge of the Spacemen?
Probably my warped brain from when I was a child, watching spooky movies in the middle of the night. That's like Big Chuck and Little John and the Ghoul and everything, and always wanted to make movies. And finally, I just went ahead and pulled the trigger and made this one.
That's awesome. So did you write the script, or did you have someone help you write it?
Well, a friend of mine, Barry Harding, and I came up with the idea for this at Cinema Wasteland one year, and he and I started working on making the how the storyline would go. And then so I went ahead and took that, what we had put together, and made a script, or I should say 3/4 of a script. So then I gave that to another guy I know who's a writer named Connor Duffy, and he took the script and cleaned it up and added some things to it, took some things out, and we ended up with a finished script.
That's awesome. And I hear the movie was edited in Australia, is that right?
Yeah. A friend of mine, Ash Windsor, he grew up in Hollywood, and not in front of the camera or anything, but in the editing rooms and stuff out there. And he and I became friends at an airline I worked at a few years ago. And I liked his work, and he's really talented. And I called him up and said, "Hey, Ash, how would you like to edit this movie?" He said, "Sure." And it's in the time since then, he and I had met. He moved back to Australia. And then, so he edited it down there. We transferred files back and forth and shipped hard drives back and forth between continents and got it done.
Sweet. Scene by scene, a little bit at a time, right?
Yeah, we edited a thing one scene at a time until we had a complete movie.
That's really cool. And who designed the masks? Because you guys have like those really neat, like, well, you'll see it in the movie out there.
I mean, this guy right here.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that came out of my warped little brain. I knew I wanted a big brain, bug-eyed aliens in the film, so I went and got pictures of all the big brain, bug-eyed aliens I could find to design ours, and it took me about a week to sculpt it, and that's what we came up with.
I love it. And does he have a name?
That's Bill.
Bill the Alien.
Bill the Alien.
Hi, Bill the Alien. Oh, I guess he doesn't
talk. No, but he probes.
Whoa, okay, well, we'll have to watch our butts here. Anyways. So do you prefer CGI or practical effects? Because I noticed in Revenge of the Spacemen you use a lot of like old school style filmmaking.
I like practical effects better. There's some things you can't do with practical effects, but practical effects have a more organic feel to them, and they look more natural as opposed to CGI. Now the CGI is getting better, and it takes a lot of work to build it, but I like the practical effects.
So what was a typical day on the set with you and like planning everything for a shoot day?
Oh, a typical day on the set. I'd begrudgingly crawl out of bed about 7 o'clock in the morning, check the weather to make sure we could shoot that night, go through the shot list of what we needed, which cast members we needed, and everything like that, and then spend the day contacting everyone to let them know where we were going to be, what we were going to be shooting, and give them call times. Then we'd typically show up to the set about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and start trying to get our shots in, get the scenes completed and everything like that. We'd finish up about, sometimes as early as 11 p.m., sometimes as late as 4 a.m. I'd go home, go through the footage we had for the day, load that into the hard drives in the computer, and then go get a couple hours of sleep and do it all again the next day.
Wow.
It was long and hard.
Yeah. A lot going on there.
Oh yeah, there was. It's like herding cats, and we had about I want to say we had 32 cast members, 28 crew. So yeah, it's like trying to herd 60 cats all at the same time.
Need extra coffee on those days.
Oh, I drank gallons and gallons of coffee. Everybody's like, oh, Jay, food's here. It's like, I don't have time. And I wouldn't bother eating the food, but I guess what everybody said, some of the food wasn't so great.
It was still really cool to be a part of something like that.
Well, it was a ton of work for everybody. I couldn't have made the movie without everybody that participated in it. There's just no way. And people ask, you made the movie. It's like, not so much I made the movie, we made a movie. It couldn't have been done without everybody that was there.
You started out with self-distribution, making your own DVDs.
Yeah, when I first got the movie made and things like that, I figured it'd sell really well at conventions, so I got quite a few of these printed. And it didn't sell quite as well as I hoped it would. But it got enough notoriety and enough buzz generated to where Troma eventually picked it up for distribution.
That's awesome. So yeah, it's coming out to Blu-ray soon, and now people can pre-order it, I believe, on Amazon or on Troma's
you
site.
You can pre-order it on Amazon.com or to go to Troma's website where you can pre-order it, and then it should be hitting the store shelves February 12th on Blu-ray, which is a lot better quality than you're going to find on this because this is a screener copy. So they've added an intro from Lloyd Kaufman, and it'll be out there, and Troma's nice enough to have picked it up.
Yeah, and Troma is like the #1 independent film distributor. They started out with making their own movies like, Tromeo and Juliet, The Toxic Avenger. But now they pick up indie films like Revenge of the Spacemen.
Yeah, there's some indie films they'll pick up if it fits in their genre and everything. And yeah, Troma is awesome. One of my favorite films is The Class of Nukem High. And this fits her genre perfectly. It's just completely off color, and it ain't right, and it's cheesy and gory and everything all at the same time.
You're watching Revenge of the Spacemen.
Right here on the Mummy and the Monkey's Hairy Scary Hangout.
Oh!
Oh no, a flying saucer! Cover your butts!
Ah! So what were your favorite horror hosts as a kid? Grimm and I, we grew up watching all these great Cleveland late night legends, and I'm sure we probably have some of the same favorites, but I'm interested to hear your answer.
Oh, we definitely have the same favorites. The first horror movie I watched was I was about 3 or 4 years old. My dad was watching Houlihan and Big Chuck.
Nice.
And they were showing The Bride of Frankenstein. And I was so fascinated by the movie, and I hid behind my dad's legs as he sat in a chair watching the movie, terrified, but couldn't take my eyes off the screen. So I would say it started right about then with Houlihan and Big Chuck. And that went on to become Big Chuck and Little John. And of course, back in the early 70s, we had Ron Swede playing the Ghoul on Saturday nights. So my Friday and Saturday nights were pretty much taken up with those guys.
Very cool. We, of course, Big Chuck and Little John. I was a kid of the 80s and 90s. And then The Ghoul when he was on Channel 55. And then Elvira if I was able to get the right channel. Later on, Mystery Science Theater. So yeah, we love all that stuff.
Yeah, and then Saturday afternoons, I'd be sitting there watching Superhost while I build model kits. And from traveling all around the country and the world, I've gotten to see so many horror hosts in so many different places. There's so many of them out there. I think there's more out there today than there used to be in the years past.
Oh yeah, they're like, just when I thought I knew of all the horror hosts, there's like some new one that pops up, or maybe one that's been around forever that I've just never heard of.
Yeah. And but Houlihan and Big Chuck and Little John and the Ghoul, those are the guys that really inspired me the most, I think. And the really bad movies they showed.
So tell me a little bit about Psycho Kitchen, if you want to. If not, it's cool.
Well, Psycho Kitchen has kind of been, I wouldn't say closed, but temporarily closed for a while. I kind of dropped the ball on that one back when we started making Spacemen. It's good food and bad movies. What I do is it's a cooking show. And people are like, a cooking show? That's kind of boring. Well, no, this isn't quite like watching Julia Child. It's more like watching Vincent Price. But I show people how to make a good meal that's affordable. And in the meantime, when I'm cooking, I host the movie, whichever I happen to show, which is typically a really bad public domain movie. But yeah, like I said, good movie and good food, bad movies. And I'm getting ready to rebuild the studio for that to get that going. And then there's another one I'm working on in pre-production, which will be kind of more straightforward and not quite so spooky and not quite so crazy. I think people will like that, but I'm not going to talk much about that now.
Oh, top secret. Mummy's the word.
Squirrel kind of stuff.
How did you make this? Did you make it?
I made it. I made 2 of them. It came out as a model kit back around 2000. Polar Lights made the kit. It's a C57D from Forbidden Planet. And I got a light kit from a friend of mine out in Connecticut. And yeah, I built 2 of these. This one was the one we used for the flyover shots and for the landing and takeoff shots. And then the other one I built, we blew up with about 2 pounds of Pyrodex.
I don't think I was there for that scene, which I'm lucky. I'd have to keep my distance.
We tried to keep a limited number of people there because it is dangerous when you're blowing stuff up. So yeah, we blew it up, and I think there was about 6 of us there.
Wow. And you guys blew it up for that ending scene where it just went.
The ending scene where we blew up the saucer.
That's awesome. And is that like a little LED light in there?
Actually, there's a whole bunch of LED lights on there on this printed circuit board. This guy out in Connecticut that I got it from, he makes these for all sorts of models and stuff like that. So this is one of them. He also makes ones like that for the Jupiter 2 model from Lost in Space, and then lighting for your Star Trek spaceships and stuff like that.
So you made Revenge of the Spacemen, and I was wondering why you picked that genre of like a cheesy kind of sci-fi type of movie.
Well, being my first feature film, I knew we were going to make a lot of mistakes. And I thought long and hard about it. Should I try to make a serious film that's funny, or a not serious film that's funny, or a not serious film that's serious? And knowing we're going to make a ton of mistakes, and we made every mistake you could possibly make, I decided, let's make a campy, cheesy, laugh at it science fiction comedy. And we would integrate the mistakes we would make into the film. And if you notice, every alien's wearing a different kind of tennis shoes. Some of the aliens have hair sticking out of the back of their masks. And so, yeah, I decided, since it's the genre it's in, which is campy, cheesy B-movie, we'll just take the mistakes and go ahead and roll with them.
Well, congratulations on your success, Jay, with Revenge of the Spacemen and getting it to Blu-ray and all that stuff.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being in the movie. Like I said, without the cast and crew in this film, that wouldn't have been possible to even make, much less get completed or get distribution for. Thank you.
Aw, shucks. Thanks for hanging with us tonight.
Thank you, Janet.